Assalamu alaikum students. I hope you will be enjoying your life. Today I am going to read The Selfish Gaint, which is written by Oscar Wilde. 1854-1900 was born in Dublin, Ireland. He graduated from Dublin University and went on to study at Oxford University before moving to London, where he lived for a number of years. He produced a large number of poems, stories, and plays. His plays are still performed today. The Selfish Gaint. Every afternoon, as they were coming from school, the children used to go and play in the Gaint's garden. It was large, lovely garden with soft, green grass. Here and there over the grass stood beautiful flowers like stars, and there were 12 peach trees that, in the springtime, broke out into delicate blossoms of pink and pearl, and in the autumn bore rich fruit. The birds sat on the trees and sang so sweetly that the children used to stop their games in order to listen to them. "How happy we are here!" they cried to each other. One day, the Gaint came back. He had been to visit his friend, the Cornish ogre, and had stayed with him for 7 years. After the 7 years were over, he had said all that he had to say, for his conversation was limited, and he determined to turn to his own castle. When he arrived, he saw children playing in the garden. What are you doing there?" he cried in a very gruff voice, and the children ran away. "My own garden is my own garden," said the Gaint. "Anyone can understand that, and I will allow nobody to play in it but myself." So he built on a high wall all around it, and put off a notice board. "Trespassers will be prosecuted." He was very selfish Gaint. The poor children had nowhere to play. They tried to play on the road, but the road was full of dust and full of hot stones, and they did not like it. They used to wander around the high wall when their lessons were over, and talk about the beautiful garden inside. "How happy we were there," they said to each other. Then the spring came, and all over the country there were little blossoms and little birds. Only in the garden of the Selfish Gaint it was still winter. The birds did not care to sing in it, as there were no children, and the trees forgot to blossom. Once a beautiful flower put its head out from the grass, but when it saw the notice board, it was sorry for the children that they slipped back into the ground again and went off to sleep. The only people who were pleased with the snow and the frost. "Spring has forgotten this garden," they cried, "so we'll live here all the year around." The snow covered up the grass with her great white cloak, and the frost painted all the trees silver. Then they invited the north wind to stay with them, and he came. He was wrapped in furs, and he roared all day about the garden, and blew the chimney pot down. "This is delightful spot," he said. "We must ask the hail on the visit." So the hail came. Every day for 3 hours he rattled on the roof of the castle till he broke most of the slats, and then he ran round and round the garden as fast as he could go. He was dressed in grey, and his breath was like ice. "I cannot understand why the spring is so late in coming," said the Selfish Gaint, as he sat at the window and looked out at his cold white garden. "I hope there will be a change in the weather." But the spring never came, nor the summer. The Ottoman gave golden fruits to every garden, but to the Gaint's garden she gave none. He is too selfish, she said. So it was always winter there, and the north wind, and the hail, and the frost, and the snow danced about through the trees. One morning, the Gaint was lying awake in bed when he heard some lovely music. It sounded so sweet to his ears that he thought it must be the king's musician passing by. It was really only a little linnet singing outside his window, but it was so long since he had heard a bird sing in his garden that it seemed to him to be the most beautiful music in the world. Then the hail stopped, dancing over his head, and the north wind ceased roaring, and a delicious perfume came to him through the open casement. I believe the spring has come at last, said the Gant, and he jumped out of bed and looked out. What did he see? He saw a most wonderful sight. Through a little hole in the wall the children had creeped in, and they were sitting in the branches of the tree. In every tree that he could see there was a little child, and the trees were so glad to have the children back again that they had covered themselves with blossoms and were waving their arms gently above the children's heads. The birds were flying about and twittering with delight, and the flowers were looking up through the green grass and laughing. It was a lovely scene. Only in one corner was it still winter. It was the farthest corner of the garden, and it was standing a little boy. He was so small that he could not reach up to the branches of the tree, and he was wandering all around it, crying bitterly. The poor tree was still quite covered with frost and snow, and the north wind was blowing and roaring above it. Climb up, little boy, said the tree, and it bent its branches down as low as it could. But the boy was too tiny, and the Gant's heart melted as he looked out. How selfish I have been, he said. Now I know why spring would not come here. I will put that poor little boy on the top of the trees, and then I will knock down the wall, and my garden shall be the children's playground for ever and ever. He was really very sorry for that, what he had done. So he crept downstairs and opened the front doors quite softly and went out into the garden. But when the child saw him, they were so frightened that they all ran away, and the garden became winter again. Only the little boy did not run, for his eyes were full of tears that he did not see the Gants coming. And the Gant stole up behind him and took him gently in his hand and put him up into the tree. And the tree broke at once into blossoms, and the birds came and sang on it, and the little boy stretched out his two arms and flung them around the Gant's neck and kissed him. The other children, when they saw that the Gant was not waked any longer, came running back. With them came the spring. It is your garden now, little children, said the Gant. And he took a great axe and knocked down the wall. And when the people were going to market at 12 o'clock, they found the Gant playing with the children in the most beautiful garden they had ever seen. All day long played. In the evening they came to the Gant to bid him goodbye. But where is your little companion? He said. The boy I put into the tree. The Gant loved him the best because he had kissed him. We don't know, answered the children. He has gone away. You must tell him to be sure and come here tomorrow, said the Gant. But the children said that they did not know where he lived and had never seen him before, and the Gant felt very sad. Every afternoon, when school was over, the children came and played with the Gant. But the little boy, whom the gaint loved was never see again. The gaint was very kind to all the children, yet he longed for his first little friend, and often spoke to him. How I would like to see him, he used to say. Years went by, and the gaint grew very old and feeble. He could not play about any more, so he sat in a huge armchair and watched the children at their games, and admired his garden. I have many beautiful flowers, he said, but the children are the most beautiful flowers of all. One winter morning, he looked out of his window as he was dressing. He did not hate winter now, for he knew that it was merely spring asleep, and that the flowers were resting. Suddenly he rubbed his eyes in wonder and looked and looked. It certainly was a marvelous sight. In the farthest corner of the garden was a tree quite covered with lovely blossoms. Its branches were all golden, and silver fruits hung down from them. And underneath it stood a little boy he had loved. Downstairs ran the gaint in a great joy, and out into the garden he hastens across the grass and come near to the child. Who art thou? Said the gaint, and a strange awe fell on him, and he knelt before the little child. And the child smiled on the gaint, and said to him, You let me play once in your garden, today you shall play in paradise. And when the children ran in that afternoon, they found the gaint lying dead under the tree, all covered with white blossoms. Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed it a lot.